Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful. When the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. So hold up, I'm not quite up and running yet here. Oh my gosh. And you know, I didn't even have the freaking light turned on. What is wrong with me? Huh, Seth? What is it? What is with that? Okay, let's fix that. There you go. Alright, this should be gone. I don't know what is... Why is it telling me I already have a continuum connection going? I only have one thing connected to it, and I'm connected to it right now. That is weird. That is a little weird. Well, let's just sit here and wait for NinjaTrader to load up. See, this is why I always come in early and start it before I go to lunch. Before I go get breakfast, rather. Because sometimes it takes a really long time. Plus, it looks like I accidentally closed a window. I accidentally closed the dollar. Well, I see you there, Win, and first thing she says is, according to CNBC, the surprise fall in 10-year treasury yields could continue. I was seeing that from all of the squawks, too. But you know what? We get this employment data here that the market is going to be incredibly sensitive to changes, any kind of unexpected change in unemployment claims, right? Like if these unemployment claims came out and it was really bullish, you know, like it was really low, that could just cause that whole trade to collapse. Or if it was higher than expected, it could just, you know, rocket ship out of here. Nothing like a morning where things start on the wrong foot. Yeah. Well, that's why we got 5 minutes. This is why the treasury market starts at 6:20 and the news comes out at 6:30, so that we have 10 minutes to work out whatever kind of BS is going on. Okay, so now I am seeing the chart and I am seeing the data. Holy crap, Yola. Oh my. Look at that. So the E-mini taking a pretty big puke overnight. That's what's going on there. And well below the levels from the previous 2 days. Like the previous 2 days, we saw pretty significant downturns. And now today in the E-mini, we're seeing a really big downturn. And as a result, some upside in the treasuries. Not nearly as strong. In the 10-year there, probably looking pretty good in the 5. I guess not. They're kind of okay. But definitely bear flattening. You can see here the spread down at the bottom. It's flattening across the board. Oil continues to be weak. No agreement from OPEC. If they get to the end of the month, no agreement, then they can all just do whatever they want, apparently. So that is a concern. Gold and silver still doing okay on a pretty good uptrend here. And silver not as much as gold. That's interesting. And copper, well. I mean, so I think there's a couple of things going on here. Well, first of all, let's fix. Duplicate in new window. The 6th. And I will change it to the euro. 60. And indicators. Speculator Seth. Dollar index candles. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so the dollar, oh, now that's interesting. The dollar not rising during all of that, huh? I mean, the dollar was moved up pretty hard yesterday, came back, but now as we've had this decline in the E-mini, the dollar went down. Very curious. Not in line with the correlations that we've been seeing from the currency complex lately. Good morning, Sebastian. Well, I do got one other thing to fix up here. Get that going. I do have to turn on rhythmic. Okay. Okay. So I'm not going to turn the strategy on quite yet. How come it sees 3 accounts there? That's kind of funny. Wow. Okay, so here's the news hitting through. Oh, I didn't have my Squawk launched. Okay, so initial claims 373 versus an estimated 350. And it looks like the Treasury taking a little skip up there. Oh, I need to come over here and check. Okay. Okay, so now we get the ECB press conference, right? ECB monetary policy meeting accounts. That's Nicholas. What's Nassim Nicholas Taleb going about today? Not exactly what you tell suckers you want to scam into highly priced vaporware or an imaginary bridge on a computer that will be built on Mars in 2071. Those who don't get it are too experienced in not being suckers. At least in 2000, there was some financial sophistication. What we witness are those that are closer in economics and finance that understand Bitcoin the worse because they rely on their engraved knowledge, and most of these people that have trouble understanding, like Taleb, have zero credit. Oh, this I see what's going on here. This commenter on Twitter is trying to reconcile the cognitive dissonance that they see between the fact that anybody that is really knowledgeable on finance dislikes Bitcoin and their own support for Bitcoin. And he does so by saying that they are just relying on what he says is engraved knowledge and zero creativity. And Taleb is telling him that you're basically a sucker. You're right. When we should put in an early title. Well, let's just put in here unemployment claims. I don't think that this ECB press conference is the same thing as what we normally get, right? This isn't like a policy press conference. I don't recall ever getting this one. Monetary policy meeting accounts. I've never heard of that before. Well, let's go to their YouTube. There we go. It says it has it right there. Strategy review. It's a strategy review. Probably just going to say a lot of stuff that we already know, though. So it actually probably depresses volatility a bit. Vlad says he already had his Globex fund. Well, I tell you, did you take that short, man? Did you make money on that short? That's your thing, isn't it? We got a good day for you, huh? Okay, well, now that we're a little bit further out here, I do want to turn on my algo. You know what? I want to double check something here. Okay, I think we're okay. Yeah. Well, I did the counter trends, still made it green day. Huh, okay. President Biden's Twitter account tweeting, "It's time for us to think bigger, act bolder, and build back better." CNBC has market sell-off and bid red text on their front page. Let's see. I don't got anything huge. Dow futures dropped nearly 500 points on concerns about global economic comeback and bond yields slide. Oh, he's saying on TV. Oh, whoa. Is Bitcoin doing so? 32,820. So yesterday, let me show you something yesterday. I don't have it. Uzi says we are all so fucked. Yeah, I was seeing on TikTok a lot of people saying that the hurricane kind of disappointed them. Like there was this guy, he was like, it didn't even blow away the chair that I hate. It's like, okay. So where was it? I was reading my man crush again yesterday, Brannigan Barrett, because we just love his soothing voice. Where was it? No, I'm going back. Where is it? Keep an eye on the 10-year, they never lie. Oh, he would come in and responded to a comment here. To his own. Yeah. Okay. He said, question for you to consider. U.S. 10-year yields are plunging, and gold is only trading at $17.96, $250 below record highs. Anyone want to take a guess what signal this is sending from a macro standpoint? And I was saying to him, well, I was thinking about it and responding and saying, well, they believe that the Federal Reserve is not going to raise rates, but they're not concerned about inflation as a result, even though the prices are increasing. The market seems to have bought into the narrative that the inflation is transitory. The yields have been decreasing like hardcore, right? So at first it was kind of like, okay, this doesn't necessarily mean something as significant as we might want to think, right? Because you get stop runs in treasuries too, and when you get like a move in the treasuries, it can just be like a really huge move, and it can really overextend sometime. It's interesting because in the outrights, the treasuries are pretty efficient. But across the curve and everything else, there's actually a lot of inefficiencies. And so when you do get big moves, it kind of takes them a while to settle down, right? And when I look at the market today, now it's starting to look more like they knew something. So like the unemployment claims was higher than expected, and there's like a big list of things. Let me turn the ECB conference off here. There's like this big long list of problems all of a sudden, right? There are increased tensions between the United States and China. There's the spread of the Delta virus are everywhere. And the manufacturing, like the big economic data points, are looking weaker. Like that we are in mid-cycle. So if we're in mid-cycle, but then all of a sudden the market is starting to give us this deflationary signal. We're at delta plus epsilon and lambda already. Where you at? Well, so let's see here. Where was it? Was it on News Squawk? They were kind of listing all this out, but there was some places though that were particularly okay. So Japan has confirmed a state of emergency for Tokyo from July 12th through August 22nd. So that's like the big one. See here, in terms of macro narrative, not a great deal has changed since yesterday's close, as participants continue to digest several ongoing potential headwinds for the market, such as the spread of the Delta variant, ongoing tensions between the US and China, a slowing of certain macro data points, tensions within OPEC. I knew I was missing something. Global labor shortages, and China's tech crackdown. We're vaccinating rapidly in the middle of a pandemic, pushing the virus into evolutionary hyperdrive. Well, it looks to me like that you're not going to get rid of it for sure. Aussie dollar interest rates going down. I mean, the funny thing is that there was a couple of central banks that were kind of starting to tighten a little bit. But this move in the treasuries is pretty significant. That, it's really hard to not see that and say something's up. They know something's up, right? Last time that this happened, like let's go back. When was the last time we saw this? You guys remember this? Was not so long ago. And rates were rising in like December of 2020. And we're like, well, that might not necessarily be a huge deal. And then this happened. And you kind of look at that and you're like, well, that doesn't mean anything because they didn't necessarily know that there was going to be a coronavirus in December and early January. And then when the coronavirus came, of course, the yields just exploded higher and you had all of these crazy days and stuff, But we're getting something similar, right? We're getting something similar. Like that is a significant move. It's really hard to see that and not be like they're making a big call here of some sort that we can't ignore. But then I look at it and I look at the news and I'm like, well, I don't think that any of these things have to like derail the recovery. I still think that we're kind of mid-cycle. I think like we're mid-cycle and in need of some repricing. There's no money in crushing the virus. People used to understand this. I think they tried. They really tried to crush the virus, but the reality is that there was other variants like this Delta variant. It's not like something that's only been around a month. Like it's been around for a while, right? I think we need more money. We need more Fed. Well, if it was really that we needed more money, then the yields would be increasing, right? Like think of it that way, right? The more that there is demand for money, the more that people are going to charge you to borrow money. So interest rates are going to go up. The market seems to be indicating to me that there's you have to be mad shielded from potential systemic collapse to not be concerned about a lot of what's I honestly don't see it. I do not see where at the moment this necessarily leads to some sort of systemic collapse. I really don't. But what I do see is an equity market that is still insanely overvalued, right? That's the big thing. is that there's just a lot of valuations out there across the board that don't really make sense and can only be held at this moment because of the Federal Reserve's exceptionally low interest rate policy. And how do the actual numbers ever catch up to that? And there's all of these theories about how eventually that gap will be closed and everything. And now I'm coming in, I'm looking at all of these economic numbers, and it's like, well, they're all slowing down and we're mid-cycle. So now how do they get there? Like, if we move to mid-cycle that quickly, how do they get there, right? Well, I think the only way that you can do that then is that you have to have a great rebalancing of some sort. There's all of this money in certain parts of the market that are going to have to rebalance to another side. We saw that last market, turmoil period with the start of the reflation trade, like particularly when banks really picked up, right? Well, I'm not strictly speaking economically. Economically, it's easy to see hope and despair from a Monday or a Thursday. Well, it's kind of interesting here, the order flow in the 10-year Treasury at the moment, because we're seeing overall the US dollar declining pretty aggressively. And the treasuries are all falling with it, and equities are trying to stage a breakout. There's this resistance, I guess you could say, at 42.97 or so. Then we know what goes on. Who knows what happens after that? But I'm a bet that they're going to try and buy the dip in the U.S. market, but I don't need the vaccine. I already caught the virus. I should go and look up the data on that again, because my recollection was that they were saying, like, if you even had like one dose of the vaccine or you had caught the virus, that your immunity is actually really great, and that it's only like the second dose of the vaccine that it's like then your immunity is like, it's impossible for you to get sick from it. How are you going to handle when they come to your door about the vaccine? I'm just not going to talk to them. I was wondering when you were going to bring that one up, actually. So what he's talking about is apparently because the Biden administration is not meeting its target for a 70%, 70, they want 70% of people to be vaccinated. Okay. And since it's not happening, they're planning on going to the areas where the vaccination rate is low and going door to door. I'm like, I can't imagine what they're thinking. Like, in what world is the government coming to your door and trying to convince you to get vaccinated effective? I don't know. I guess if they were going door to door and they actually had doses of the vaccine to give you like right then and there, and then they could just kind of, it's like no big deal, would just vaccinate you. Maybe that I could see being effective, right? But what I see right now is everybody on the right is like super triggered by this. The government knows whether I've had the vaccine or not and is going to come to my house to try and coerce me into getting it. It's a little bit, about the safety of the Pfizer. Like, do I just not answer my door forever? I don't know, man. It's a little wild to think about, isn't it? I mean, a lot of people are getting conspiratorial about it, but I don't think it's any big deal. It's like, if you really don't want to get the vaccine, then you just shut the door in their face, You get the shot, you go on the good boy list. I tell you what, there is a lot of good data, positive, optimistic data about the effect of natural immunity. And this natural immunity continues to get ignored and discarded by the media and the political elites by and large. And how do you explain that? How do you explain that? And of course, we all know what the conspiracy theory explanation is, that they want to make money from the vaccines. But that's something about the current lay of things that really bothers me. I keep being told by people on Facebook and Reddit and so forth that this is all about trusting the experts and doing what the experts say and everything. But what I continue to see is situations where experts are completely ignored and that the politicians seem to be just doing what they want. And that really what it's turned into is not following the experts, but following what the politicians say the experts say. Right? It has become a manipulation tactic for politicians to force certain outcomes. Vaccine passports are a thing, and also, well, they've been a thing in many Democrat areas for a while. So, mm-hmm. Do you think our great-grandparents had this conversation over the polio vaccine? I know they did over the Spanish flu. Yeah, I don't know. I see a lot of people try to make comparisons between the current situation and many other things. But I don't know. I just don't think of it in those terms. Like, of course, I know what the political lay of it is and the people's interests and theories and all of that. But I think of it as like, okay, here's the vaccine. Here are the possible risks associated with it. They're not huge, but they are there. There are risks with the vaccine, right? There's been these heart troubles. And it's a very, very rare conditions apparently, but people have been coming in and having problems with it. And then here's the information about the natural immunity. And I read it and I say, oh, I don't need to do anything because I have natural immunity. So, that's as far as I take it. It's against our constitution to not allow free travel and commerce between states. Our founding fathers would be rolling in their grave. The thing is I don't really think I've seen anybody really challenge that kind of a restriction yet. So, anyways, I have to say, like the thing is that like the vaccine to me is not a big deal. It's like, we should try and reduce the spread of this thing. Okay, whatever. Where I start to get triggered is everything else that I see going on around this. So it's like this one thing wouldn't really be a big problem. Like I can go along with it. It's like, okay, that all makes sense. That's fine. Obviously, I can see why people would have some concerns, but there's no reason based off of that to really be concerned about it, right? But then there's all of these other things that are going on that are concerning and that really have to make you question people's motivations behind everything else. Okay, I'll give you an example. Tucker Carlson. Have you been following this story with Tucker Carlson? Holy crap, guys. The NSA literally spied on him. He came out, he got on television and said, hey, I've been told by somebody in the intelligence community that they've been spying on me and that they're going to try and use the information that they've had and leak it to journalists to make you look bad. And so he got on television and said that this was happening. And then everybody turned around, and then the state agencies turned around and said, no, we weren't doing that. They kind of made like a non-denial denial. And now last night, the information was leaked to a journalist, and the NSA basically came out and admitted that, yeah, actually they were spying on him. And apparently they were spying on him because he was trying to get an interview with Putin, which many news outlets have done. Anyways, Tucker says he's being spied on. His lawyers then go to court and say no reasonable person should expect Tucker is presenting facts. So what is his path? No, like so that's the thing, is that when this started, they were all saying, like, the whole remember we had this conversation, right? Because we had this conversation with Ace, and Ace was like, well, I don't necessarily believe Tucker Carlson, right? And then the next day, the NSA and FBI or whatever, whoever it was, came out and said, well, we're not doing that. But then, of course, we know that, like, they keep all of that information, and then it's just a matter of looking it up, right? So they literally called Tucker Carlson a liar, and then everything that he said was going to happen has happened. And journalists have gotten his private conversations and leaked them to the public. And because he wanted an interview with Putin, which other news outlets have gotten. That's really insane. That is Banana Republic stuff. When this happened, when they were spying on the Donald Trump campaign, and they lied and everything about, but the reality of the situation was, in the end, after everything was investigated and all of the information came out, what we found was that they basically lied to the FISA court to get us a warrant to spy on one of his campaigns, and they were using that information to their advantage, right? And everybody just kind of swept it under the rug and said, well, you guys are just, getting excited about nothing or whatever. And now here we're doing it to journalists, and they're just doing it more. What the, like, this? And the thing is that it's like conservatives are, well, so I went in and there was a Zero Hedge story about it yesterday. But when I was on Reddit /r/conservative, and I went and I searched their subreddit for Tucker. No, I gotta go back now. Tucker. Search that one subreddit. Posts from the past 24 hours. There wasn't really very many recent threads. This was the most recent one, actually. There hasn't, well, okay, so there has been one, but that's just like the same story. Anyways, there was 38 comments on this one. It wasn't a huge thread. And that's the thread. Like that's the whole thread. This is like a big, there was a big argument here with what was this guy saying? Well, NSA was monitoring Russians. They can't help the fact that Tucker was talking with Russians trying to secure an interview, because that's totally normal, right? Giving the Russian, no, yeah, it's not. It is totally normal, actually. He's an anchor-tainer. I mean, this is not really relevant to the issue, though, right? The fact of the matter is that he has every right to try and secure a interview with Vladimir Putin, like every other news outlet has done. And his private communications should not be getting monitored by the intelligence community. And his private communications should certainly not be leaked to the public. right? And there's absolutely no question now. There should be no question now that people are using the NSA and the FBI and all this for political purposes, right? And that's the real problem here, is that we've given these people this supreme power. They can literally get any information about me or anybody else that they want, and they're now using that information for political purposes. Okay? That's a little scary. And then when you turn around and you look at everything else and they say, oh, okay, well, like there's all of these things, those restrictions that we're putting on you for coronavirus or whatever else the policy is, that's totally just for this. I know that you have concerns about it, but it's totally just for all good purposes. And then you have to turn around and look at this and say, why should I believe you? Why should I believe you? Because you literally just lied to us last week. Literally, said the most. I mean, nobody believed. I mean, I guess the Democrats believed it, but I don't think anybody believed them when they said it. I think they all kind of looked at it as like, this is a non-denial denial. But come on. Uzi, you're right, Uzi. It's exactly what happened. Number one, deny it's happening. 2, mock the concern that it's happening. 3, oh wow, it actually is happening. 4, well, he isn't actually a journalist, so he deserves it. I mean, it is funny how the goalposts move, right? Started out there saying he was a liar, and then it came out that he wasn't lying, and so now I see partisans trying to justify it. It's not justifiable. Certainly, I could see where, hey, you're a journalist and you're talking to somebody that is like monitored, that somebody in the intelligence community is going to see that. But for the person in the intelligence community to then take that information and leak it out to the public, not okay.
Order submitted.
Oh, can you hear that? I don't necessarily want you guys to hear that, but that's okay. We'll see what happens. In my big picture view, this is inevitable, and I read about the future technology in sci-fi back in the day. It's the influencers with no moral foundations that concern me. Yeah, I'm going to say is that when they're done with our side, they're going to come after y'all's, so don't get comfortable. Yeah, I don't know, man. Here's how I interpret that comment when I'm more concerned about Fahrenheit 451 than I am concerned about 1984. That's what you're saying. Is that what Fahrenheit is it 451? Yep, I got it right. I was surprised Sexy Robot Voice was not a German female. Do you have a thing for that voice? Which one? Well, the one that just came out from Ninja Trader, that's like built into Ninja Trader. After they neuter conservatives, and rest assured they will capitulate, the anti-fascists and Democrat ideology will be purged and sanitized. Well, yeah. I mean, the interesting thing about this is you normally the contention is always going to be these are communists trying to take over our government and turn us into a communist government. But this is really not the case. These people are not communists. In fact, I would dare say that it probably, I mean, there are pretty big contracts and associations between the intelligence community and large businesses, right? Like this whole thing with Microsoft that fell apart. Okay. It's not that. It is a desire for more centralized control is really what it comes down to, is they want centralized control over things, right? And what you're seeing right now is over the past 30 years, we have given a lot of leeway to more centralized power in the United States. And we're now seeing the negative consequences of doing that. If you give the intelligence community a lot of centralized power and abilities to monitor everybody, even if it's disallowed by the Constitution and the president isn't doing anything, people within the intelligence community can still abuse that power, right? And it's the same thing with the CDC, right? There are people in the CDC that it turns out they have a lot of power, and we gave them a lot of power now. And are they always going to do the thing that is right for us? Who's to say? Who's to say? Because the reality of the situation is that at that point, people in our situation, there's no way for us to really know. You just have to take their word for it, And why should we? Or make our way to a centralized authoritarianism, but progressivism has added too many variables to the equation as we inch towards a one-party state. That progressives will become the only rabble-rousers in the state. Will deal with them accordingly. Very good. So, I am pretty satisfied with that. That was an easy trade. Should I leave it? I'm sitting here, I'm like, maybe I should leave it on. But here's the thing. If I left it on and it made a bunch of other really good trades, then I still have to trade like 20 days on that combine, and then it wouldn't, like what if I made it all in one day? It wouldn't be good. So one trade, good. And when we've been testing this in the past, it tends to take one trade during this hour, and it doesn't necessarily take another trade the rest of during our time period. So I think that today, you know what, man? I want to change the subject. I want to keep having this discussion with Uzi because it is interesting, but I kind of feel like I've already kind of said my thing, and I think Uzi is on the same page with me, and it's time to like step back and think about it for a day or two, and then have the discussion again. Yeah. So I'm not sure what else I'm going to say about it other than that I'm really upset about what's happening with Tucker Carlson. And if this was happening to somebody else, if this was happening to Rachel Maddow, it would make me just as upset, okay? Like they are screwing around with journalistic independence. It's really concerning. I digress. Let's talk about Seth instead. Because you know what? This combine kind of has me super anxious. or not. It's not. Maybe it's not even the combine. It's just trading in general today, or not today. Like the past 2 weeks, I say, has been making me feel really anxious for some reason. Like you kind of get into that spot where making a trade kind of gets you nervous, Like that's where I'm in. So when I was doing the combine, I wanted to really start it on the jobs report last Friday, right? But I kind of screwed some things up. So like I made a mistake. It wasn't like, I don't know, because of the situation, like I intended to break the rules of the combine multiple times and test it, right? But the thing that was weird about it was that I didn't break the rule that I intended to break. Like I was trying to break the daily loss limit rule, and instead I broke the max allowed number of contracts rule, for instance, right? And then I also broke the time frame rule a few days ago, which I did want to test, but I wasn't like intentionally trying to test it at that moment. I think I must have thought that I had turned it off and I hadn't, but I digress. So I'd done those tests, and I don't think there's really anything else that I can test that would be easy or even worth testing. Like, those are two things with those combines that's like, why would they even give you the ability to break those rules? You know what I mean? So I think that's why I wanted to do this, because I remember that happening to me in combines past, and so I wanted to bring it up again. I thought it was pertinent. Okay. But now so all of that has gone through, and then everything is all set up today, and I had tested the algorithm yesterday, so I was sure that it was going to take trades. Because another thing was that there was days where I'm like, I want it to take a trade, and it doesn't seem like it's doing it for some reason. Okay, so I get to today, and I have it all set up. First of all, my workspace was all broken, so that was a problem. And then, I've got to go in and change the thing. So, and remember this whole thing that I had to rebuild my workspace or whatever. Like, the strategies that I had been running for a couple of weeks, and it was like, oh, I run this one. This seems to be working well. It would have passed it in June with my forward back testing. So now I've just got to change the account on it, right? But then that deleted. So I was like, so then you got this thing in the back of your mind, like, okay, what if you didn't set them to the exact same settings, right? Like, that's the thing I have going through in my head now. So this morning, after the news came through, and I was like, okay, I need to turn the combine on. And it was kind of it made me a little nervous. And I don't know, maybe that's just because with my discretionary trading, it's like summer, and I know that I suck during the summer, but then there has been some periods where I should do well, and it's just been dismal. I don't know. But that's kind of what's been going through my head. And then lately, I don't know, I've just been more interested in playing Overwatch, which is kind of weird because it's like an old game and there's lots of problems with it, and I'm hard stuck in terrible ranks and playing with, oh my gosh, last night I was I came through, and first couple of games were really good. I'm like, okay, we're gonna build up, we're gonna be fine. And then you'll get 3 matches in a row where it's not even fair. One team, 2 of the team members were bots, so that was just a straight loss. No matter what, you're gonna lose that one. And then you get another one where there are just people on your team that are just completely incompetent and things like that. And it's and you drop so much. It's so maddeningly frustrating because you feel I have to play absolutely awesome every game. And even then there's these huge setbacks. But then doesn't trading kind of turn into the same thing? It's you have to trade like an absolute god all the time, and then even then you're going to have significant setbacks sometimes. It's so tiring. Really is tiring. I was spending a lot of time thinking yesterday that was the advantage to what I do isn't really in the money making potential in the long run. We've always kind of said that 95% of day traders are going to lose money. If you do make money, it might not be a ton, and it's probably not going to be worth the amount of time and effort that you're going to put into it, right? So is it really actually valuable then at that point? Well, it seems to me that it is. We have acquired knowledge that is very valuable and that the vast majority of the market does not have. And sitting here and being this intimate with the order flow of the market and seeing what's going on, it really gives us a thumb on the pulse of the market that most people don't have. And that is valuable as well. Yeah. And so I was just thinking last night, like, of course, we're going to always trade and try and work it out. And luckily for us, we're going to have some opportunities where we can continue to do that with very, very low risk, which I think is the optimal thing. Like, I want to trade. I don't necessarily care about making huge amounts of money. I just want to get better at doing it, you know? And so the less I can risk, the better, really, is how I feel about it. Okay. Cause it's freaking stressful, man. Like, especially when we were trading. So there were some of those points where we were trading live accounts and things. And like, oh man, that one when I was really relying on Ace's strategy quite a bit. And then the whole Brexit thing came in and like destroyed markets. And I did not handle the pressure very well in that situation, I don't think, you know? So if I can do that and take a little pressure off of myself by it, you know, not really being significant sums, that's really great. But there's also this side of like, want to help the community, and we've built the community for certain reasons, right? And we've been a pretty successful community, although we're certainly having a lull in activity now, aren't we? No, we're still around 20 viewers every day, 24 viewers. So, and that's kind of always been our baseline. And then I think that everything that's been on top of that have just been people that come and go, right? And are like sent from YouTube. But when I was thinking about it from the perspective of like, what is like the true value in what I'm doing? I was like, well, the community is really valuable too, right? And I've spent a lot of my time and focus on trying to give you guys the videos that would help you the most and stuff. But then I was thinking about it and I was like, okay, but do these guys really actually need my help? Because the guys that are here every day, Uzi doesn't need my help. Ace doesn't need my help. I don't think Stick needs my help. Stick seems to be pretty on the ball too. And you've been one of the most dedicated viewers, by the way, so I appreciate it. NSA and Pfizer watching today. Oh yeah. Brett. Excuse me. Imagine future you that now has 20 years of market price action and order book screen time. Yeah. Well, we're getting like into like 5 years of doing this. So, and I have to say, there was things that I know now that I didn't know. I tell you, you know what's one of the most frustrating things was that I kind of had a glimpse of the big things that I know now from the very beginning. When I worked at Goldman Sachs and I had the opportunity to talk to a trader, I remember them talking about a couple of things, and there was a lot of like, they told me to look at this, and I was like, okay, but it just didn't seem like significant things at the time. And when I was at Gold, like they talked to me, I wrote stuff down, I went and I tried to research the things that they talked about, right? And I didn't really find anything all that interesting to me. And what it was is that I just didn't know enough about the subject to really know what to search for, right? So they had given me the tools to go and find what I needed to find. And I just didn't take advantage of it. And then here through the stream, I kind of stumbled upon it. And then when I stumbled upon it, because, well, you know, people gave me recommendations on books and stuff, then I was thinking back to the times when I was talking to them. And I was like, oh, that's what they meant by this. This is what they were talking about when they said efficient execution and so on and so forth. Like they said efficient execution, but that wasn't like, that's not the term that you search for, right? If they had told me Almgren and Chris, that would have been very different, right? But I think that she couldn't remember the name of the study. Anyways, I wish that I had done all of that from the beginning. I want to donate to your Patreon. Well, you can. So on the Patreon, I've been posting the Bitcoin charts, and it's basically become for the Bitcoin charts. So if you're not interested in the Bitcoin charts, don't donate to the Patreon. If you want to help the channel out, join the channel. Right? There's the little join button down below, and you can subscribe for $1 or $5 a month. Do that. And then you can get the Ninja Trader indicators if you want. And there's a channel just for subscribers in Discord. There's not like a ton of activity there yet, but I hope someday that will become a lot more busy and we can put more information in there. So in order for, I could give you the indicators from you subscribing to the Patreon too, but I don't watch that one. Because I have to do it all manually. So what I do is I go and look at who's subscribed to the Elite subscription in YouTube every month, and then make sure that they're all in there. There are 1 or 2 people that are subscribing to the $5 subscription that never sent me their information, and I'm like, okay. I just wanted to donate mainly because I hit big longing volatility. Good job, Stick. Good job. But that's what I'm talking about, is like, we've done a good job for whatever reason at attracting good traders. I don't think that, I used to think, or we used to say, you guys have said to me many times, well, I like listening to you because I know that you're honest and I can trust you. And everybody else is just trying to push their own being famousness, and you're interested in trading. And you're not pushing the BS that I know doesn't work. And so, I think that's why we've been able to attract good traders and everything, right? But I'm kind of starting to come to the thought that it's not even so much that as it is that I had some tools early on that were very useful to understanding the markets, right? I understood from the very beginning that the market is a competitive environment, that you can't just go and do something and, tell everybody about it and then it's going to magically work. That it's actually the opposite. Like, the more people that are using it, the less likely it is to work. Like, there's a certain point at which it works, but then after that, it just gets worse. And I knew that from the beginning. I just kind of took that for granted. Now I understand the math behind why it happens and the empirical research that proves that that's what happens, right? But it was because of those things. And so we were able to attract a good audience, I think, because of those things. It was because of that I was able to, not be led astray by the things that don't really work, that the good traders out there that have been through this before, they see this all the time everywhere and they go, well, I don't, I'm not gonna mess with that because it's just noise. Because that's what I do. I spend a lot. I don't spend as much time as I did, but I spend a lot of time on Reddit reading through all of the trading threads. And it's kind of turned into like, this is all just the same old stuff. It's very rare that I see somebody say something new and different. And it's very rare that I see them say anything advanced, like about market microstructure from a study, The algo trading subreddit is interesting because they get a lot of machine learning stuff, but I'm from the way that they talk about it, I'm not convinced that that's really all that effective. Because they all sound really frustrated all the time also. But, so going back, if that's really why we've been able to develop such a good community, that just reinforces that idea that, like, what is the actual real benefit of the channel, right? It's really, I mean, the community is one side, but the value that we can give to everybody else is that we catch things and we understand the market in a way that most traders don't. And not everybody has the time to sit there for 2 hours a day and see what happened in the markets, right? This is why they'll watch CNBC and they'll talk to Art Cashin every day and see what he thinks and so forth, right? So there's value in that opinion. And now I'm starting to realize that, like, how valuable our collective feel on the market is. I don't even think it's just me, right? I think it's the combination of all you guys here in chat, right? When I say something and you might see something else, and being able to reconcile contradicting pieces of information and sort it out and everything, like that's valuable. And I should be spending more time cultivating and promoting that. That's what I was thinking. So that was like that was like 40 minutes to get out my thought process behind all of that. But it started all with, man, I just feel awfully anxious about trading lately. Thursday, no gee whiz, it's so tough being retired. Time is not exactly linear here. You know what? This week has been fast, wouldn't you say? There's the open. Let's minimize this so we can see the delta. It looks like there's some selling on the open. I think I want to. Oops, well, I'm already a little bit too late. And I have too tight of risk. So next one, I'm gonna expend it. No, don't hit the stop. Go to the target. Go. Oh, come on. Oh, boy. I must say, a lot of activity here on the open today, isn't there? The cumulative delta difference isn't huge, but yeah, and they're probably, actually, did they pierce it? They did. 97. 97 was the spot, right? Right from the get-go, they pierced the spot. Today is probably going to be a fill the gap day. QTrader demo exceeded. Actually, I'm not familiar. No, it's not NQ. It's just ES. It sure kind of looks like NQ, isn't it? It's trading pretty furiously here today. Now, okay, so now that's interesting. Some 2K icebergs trading around 42.96. Why do you think there was a big sell-off overnight? Well, so again, I think that there's like these four factors going on. There is more contention between the US and China. China is cracking down on tech companies. There is all of the drama with OPEC, and the Delta variant is spreading and presents some risks. There was a good story on Zero Hedge yesterday talking about the Goldman Sachs analysis of the COVID, and I think that they've done a very good job of analyzing the potential impacts. And it didn't look like they were saying, oh, there's going to be a crash or like it's going to be a big deal, but they did say like it's spreading, and we are going to have to factor that into our forecasts now. So there's that. And then the final thing being that the manufacturing and services data, PMIs, ISMs, and so forth that we've been getting have been suggesting that we've reached the peak growth. Like early cycle, you get these periods where the amount that the manufacturing grows each month is really high, and then after that you get diminishing returns, and that's when we move from early cycle to mid cycle, and it appears that the data is already showing us that we are mid-cycle. So all of those factors combined, I believe, are leading to the market that we're seeing this week. What we saw on Monday was probably mostly to do with the weekend, like positions from the weekend and everything else. So like the treasuries saw a reason to be buying because of what we got in the last employment report, with the unemployment ticking up, right? And then that kind of got exacerbated. But then as the week has gone on, the market has kind of trended more and more towards this, well, the inflation narrative doesn't really make sense anymore. That at the very least, the inflation narrative is going to have to come much later. Or reflation rather. So overnight, I think that's kind of why we had the decline that we did. Mr. Park said, adding that surveys of U.S. activity has fallen short of expectations in recent days. Yeah, it wasn't just that like they didn't quite hit what the analyst expectations were. It was that difference basically turned into, oh, we've already reached max. So I think that's important. But it is a little weird, don't you think, RJ? Like, we had all of this economic data. When that economic data was released, it didn't seem like we really got like huge significant moves off of it, did we? Right? There was a couple of those moves where I had a hard time trading them because the market seemed like wishy-washy. And then all of a sudden overnight, there's like this huge down move seemingly out of nowhere. So I can only chalk it up to the market's not that efficient, I guess. Okay, well, they had a pretty good move up. It looks like they're coming back down towards the open. I'm tempted to buy it there, but like 96, well, now it's already too late. Look at that. Anyways, I didn't see any specific piece of news that would justify the S&P 500 from dropping as much as it did. But I digress. Women's sports should not be a retirement plan for failed male athletes. Oof. Oof. Okay, well, there was a decline. They recovered a little bit of it, and then it declined back down again. Okay. Excuse me. Looks like I'm going to get hit on the stop on that one. Actually, let's just stop out of the whole thing. 30. My, oh my. Ace is looking for a short. Gosh dang it, Ace. Kind of I'm oscillating back and forth in my mind between should I give these room to breathe or should I be cutting them off really quickly? The moment it looks like cutting them off really quickly would have been the better choice. A little fight at the open. Price. Well, I think I could probably. Yeah. Oof, that came back quick, didn't it? Oh, you caught profits. Yeah, that's funny. Well, because they have such close targets, then yeah, you catch them. Well, like what I just got there, right? Now I can just let this try and run. Like, it gives me a really good, really good risk. Yeah, I'm long now. I mean, this whole time I've been trying to buy, so that's why I was saying, gosh dang it, Ace, because I was like, I mean, he's not. Ace being long or short in and of itself isn't a reason enough for me to change my mind about something, but he's not dumb. I mean, he does make some good calls, so it's certainly not helpful. It's not something that I want to hear. And you did catch some pretty good downside on it, right? Like, there was a pretty good clue that even if I was right that I was early. Okay, well, they had made like a really great run there for a bit, and now they're kind of coming back again. I suppose this is a good market for this campaigning strategy, but for this to really be worth it, you've got to catch the runner, and who knows if we're going to be right on it going long. Mr. Top Step says, if you're surprised by this decline, you shouldn't be. Okay, that was a good little bid there. The market's actually going to test them, and he took it. Okay. And again, yep, I want that for sure. But I'm going to have to Give myself more room here if I'm going to do it. Ooh. So we saw some aggressive bidding there. And now the market is kind of trying to dragging down from it. I'm not seeing that guy puke per se. So I feel like this is just them trying to pressure that guy. But it looks like they may be pushing it further than I'm able to hold. So yeah, look at that. I bet you there could be another break of that low, because before the open there was 42.86, so they might want to create a stop run through that. How big is the decline? Okay, so the decline in cumulative delta was pretty significant. We should keep that in mind. Yeah, there it is right there. Okay. Treasuries bid back up really hard when all that started too, didn't they? I've been so focused on the E-mini, I kind of lost track of that one. And it's still there. There he is again. So this is like a 500 lot or something around those lines. No, it's a 300 lot that's like stacking. Good. Welcome back, Stick. See, there it is. It didn't pull, you see? They traded 162 into it. And it held. And then they shied away from it. So I'm going to change a few things up here. Treasury's up another few ticks. I think this guy that's got the big order that he's trying to get filled is not. I don't think he was all filled. I think he still has like 100 or 200 left. The open has been a real mess. Should call it a mess. It's been pretty turbulent, I would say. There was some pretty decent upside at the start. It's turned back down. Maybe some signs of a reversal here, but we'll see. I mean, the pattern tends to be we move down for a while and then there's some sort of buy the dip reversal, right? Okay, that's kind of odd that just like all of a sudden just really slowed down there. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Look at that. So it's looking like we might get a distribution around 42.84.50 because there was kind of some dramatic sweeps both ways. So that wouldn't indicate this situation where we get like stuck because of a lack of liquidity. This is like the true situation that everybody talks about where there's people interested both ways here. Which I guess if you're looking for a reversal is kind of what you want to see. Because if we do flip up, well, and that's pretty positive right there back above 87, it could flip up really, really hard now. I just got a long signal. Fortunately, this signal sucks. Oh, it's still there. Really? What? 1984 contracts at 42.90. What? That's I think you buy that one. I'm gonna go out on a limb. Like when you see a really big order, you got to be really careful about those because those can really screw you up and not necessarily a thing. But in this context, I think that is really bullish. Oh, wow. And did I fill my first target? I did. Awesome. $91.25. Okay. Did he pull it? He did. It was at 42.90. So I think this is where it's kind of weird. Like this is one of the weird things about order flow. Because he said, nah, just kidding. Okay. So this is where order flow gets kind of weird because guys with big orders will want to screw around with you, right? But sometimes they will use their orders to communicate with us, you know? And so here on this one, there was some like aggressive buying through this whole downturn. So we could see somebody buying the dip down here, right? Then when we came back up into here, there was like some aggressive selling and some aggressive buying. The selling kind of petered out very easily, and when the buyer started winning, it was very fast, right? And then we came up, and once we passed through 42.90, we saw another big order, but this one was like 2,000 contracts that they stacked on there, right? So before when I saw it, it was like, You see here it was like 500, 400, 300, 200. It was like somebody with a big order and they were just, some of it was getting filled and then they were moving it around, right? This one, when it comes up through 4290 and there's like 2,000 contracts, that to me, the way that I read that is this guy is saying, look, I've been buying the dip. I just won. And here's how much more ammunition I have. Do you really want to fight me? That's how I read that. Now, that is like incredibly like non-scientific, right? But that's just kind of my perspective on it. So far, it's working pretty well. Take the 2, try for a runner, yeah. Well, I'm gonna ret one of mine. I don't know. I think I'm gonna take one of them off up there and then. Uzi said, neat way to think about it, though. Yeah. Well, that's why it's so hard, because I think the thing is that there are certain things that would mean something significant. Okay? Like somebody stacking a 2,000 contracts on the bid. How do we put this? It's like you have to think of it in the context of a metagame, right? It's like if markets were just invented today and we started trading the order book, and then somebody that had a lot of money came in and said, okay, I'm going to stack a big, huge buy order here, right? And maybe when that happened, everybody ran away from it, or maybe he got filled and then the market moved up, whatever it is. But it was like the first time that somebody did that, they're like, look, I'm this big guy and I'm going to let you all see my big fat order, right? And then everybody saw that and they said, oh, like that means something, but I could do that too, and I could mess with people doing that. And so then they said, well, it's a buy, but I'm going to use it to induce people to buy and then absorb against them and actually sell. That sort of a thing, right? So the natural way of that signal in and of itself is that it is a buy. It's just that because it became well known and as the metagame progressed, it becomes a very different thing, to the point where you might not even necessarily be able to say anything from it. In fact, I tend to be like, I just want to stay away when that happens, right? But there could still be situations where contextually speaking, you could still make the read that somebody's trying to make that kind of communication to us. And I don't see it very often, but it's definitely something that I've seen many times before in markets, where it's, there's a battle and then one side wins, and then the side that wins kind of does like a victory stack. That's what we should call it. That was the victory stack. So kind of interesting. We'll see if they get back up to the highs. So we're just barely above the open. This could flip back down and go to new lows very easily, right? So Stick says the order book is totally used to communicate, but he's just advertising liquidity like a market maker. Could be. The thing is that he stacked it up there, and then how far away was it? Yeah. I don't even know if it was like he was advertising liquidity, because when he stacked it, it goes so fast it's hard to see. This is why my market depth tape is so useful. You see up there in the upper left? When he stacked it, right here, do you see 4290, 1,848 contracts stacked, position 0. That means that they stacked it on the best bid. The market moved up 8 ticks. There was no way that it was going to get filled. He removed it. So I guess we make from that what we will, but it was a very, very interesting setup. And it's Not every day that we get to see 2,000 stack, huh? That's looking really nice. Yeah, sixes. I don't know. I think the market saw that no one was taking it. Yeah. Well, the question is how much did he really want that to be filled, huh? Like here's the thing though. I don't think that you can expect to put 2,000 contracts on the bid and get filled. I don't think you can. I think that you put that one out there when you would be okay with getting filled, but you're really trying to shove the market. But it could be wrong. So the thing that I think kind of will make order flow so interesting is like going back to what I was saying about like there's like maybe the original meaning of that, of why somebody would do that, and then it gets distorted over time, right? So because people have seen that it does something in the past, they'll do it to try and make things happen, right? So what you end up with is you get this thing where like it does mean something, but there's so much noise that it's impossible for you to tell when that really means something and when it's just noise, you know? And then that muddles the water so much more that it's very difficult for us to empirically determine what was really going on there. The only way that we could know is if we were talking to the person that stacked it, right? And then do that every time there's a large stack and see what they're trying to do. But that's what makes order flows so interesting, is because like it's undeniable that some of these things mean things or matter. It's unlike technical analysis. You see a chart pattern, like there's a lot of question as to whether it's actually means something, because that pattern could just naturally exist. Like if you go and you make a random data set, you're going to see those patterns. So how do you know that they're actually created by human nature or, the way that people are trading? Stopped out and done for the day. Let's argue about something. Well, you did still like hit your daily target. Yeah. Like the amount that you would look to make. Yeah. Well, if your risk management allows you to risk 2,000 contracts, then that means he has low risk, meaning he has a small position or maybe a massive short. I don't know. I wore my mask today, Ace. Are you proud? Yeah, Ace says yes, green plus. Okay, good. I am as well, but for some reason I feel like that to make this all worth it, I need a new high of the day. I don't know why I feel that way, or why I'm holding it to that, but I guess it's because I'm trying to make a larger call that today is going to be a gap fill day. So really, for me to be right on like my over, because I could still come out of this, like maybe it just sits around here and at the end of the session, I just give up on it and quit, right? For me to really be right on that call, I think that we need to see some attempt at least to fill the overnight gap. But anyways, as I was saying, so there's a lot of things in technical analysis that it's like it's uncertain if they actually mean anything. But then there's these things in order flow that it's undeniable that it means something and that it has an impact on the market. But what that actual impact is and in which situations it matters and which situations it doesn't is extremely unclear to us, which makes it an interesting area of study. Because 2,000 contracts don't just get thrown up on the bid randomly, right? That's not random. Is LaGuard still talking? See breaking. I see Financial Juice say 2% inflation target is not a cap. Yeah, okay. It's a symmetric target. Yes, we've heard that so many times. Now we see the big one again. Oh no, that was just the big one. I'm gonna post the picture of this. I don't think so. So Ace says we are in that place where everyone thinks it's over, but it's not. It's going to start dropping like flies soon here. That sounds like you're talking about the pandemic, and I think you're wrong. And here's why I think you're wrong. In particular, if we're referring to Utah, there does appear to be a pretty large contingent of people in Utah that are like anti-vaccine, or anti-the vaccine, not anti-vaccine, but anti-the vaccine. And, but it's not actually as large of a percentage as you would think, or as it would be compared to, you know, some southern states, right? Because the culture, like the LDS Church and everything else, has been very positive towards the vaccine. Okay, and more so than that, the group of people that are anti-vaccine have caught it. So Utah was one of the first places to reach a theoretical 70% immunity. So the new variant will start killing the folks like yourself. Well, that's probably not. So here's the thing, is that what you will probably see, and we've seen this in other areas. Okay, so I'm not just like making this up. This, when you look at the areas that have the Delta variant, the new variant, we're talking about the Delta variant. When we look at the places that have the Delta variant, what you are seeing is an increase in cases, but not an increase in hospitalizations or deaths, right? So what is really happening is the people that really actually need the vaccine, and these are like people in their 80s and 90s, they have the vaccine and they're safe. So the risk of death is quite low, right? So it only becomes like, how far can we stop the spread of the virus at that point? And from that perspective, we'll see how well the natural immunity translates to the Delta variant, because I haven't seen any data on that. But based on all of the other data that we have, at the very least, although it may spread, people are going to catch mild cases. So when we talk about, is it over? That very greatly depends on what your definition of over is, right? If it's over being like that there are no new cases, then that's never going to happen. But if over is the risk of hospitals being overwhelmed and large masses of people dying, yes, it is over. And particularly here in Utah, where we already have a very high immunity rate. No one wears... No, I bet you money that we will not have another rise in deaths. Somebody's calling me on my phone. Spam risk. So if we can come back to, let's see here. Coronavirus dashboard? And yeah, nobody wears masks anymore. Yeah, because they got rid of the mandate. I bet money I never made you a bet on the UFO claim because you seemed to be missing what I was trying to say about it. Those documents, did you read what actually got released? Because what actually got released was pretty interesting. He's just okay. I would, if there was a way for me to express my opinion that I just shared to you through the market, I would do it, because I feel very that there's very strong data and information to back up that perspective. I just pick whatever side you don't take. Oh, is that really the case? If you want to do that, then you can take the devil's advocate stance. But when you make me think that that's what you actually believe, then it starts to mess with me. Okay, so if we come over to United States here on this dashboard, does this show oh, it doesn't show graphs, does it? No. The Utah coronavirus deaths chart. That's just information about how they track it. Here's a chart. I don't know how they got that chart. Oh, from the New York Times. Let's click that. I think that's what we really want. Anyways. Messing with you is my primary. Good. Okay, so yeah, these are... No, those new cases. How do I get to deaths, though? Can you show me a larger... Okay, there we go. Okay, new deaths 8. 7-day average 14, 15. Well, wow. Okay. Who cares who lives or dies in Utah? We are way overpopulated. No. I tell you what, Ace, you know what's the scary thing about here in Utah? We have been one of, if not the fastest growing state over the past 10 years. And we are still very sparsely populated. There is a lot more room for Utah to grow. And it probably will continue to grow, because as much as everybody complains about the culture in Utah or whatever, people actually do like it. I actually think that people do like it. I think that a lot of the what is the word, like the antagonism and like the bad feelings about the culture that people express is like all in their head, but when it actually comes to like day-to-day life, people in Utah are quite happy, and there's probably going to be a lot more people moving in the future. It's going to continue to grow. So food for thought. Okay, well they got above the open. They're just kind of dancing around. They seem to be having a hard time getting through the 4297 area. Okay, so the large stack was at 90. They're piercing that price. I haven't seen any stacks or anything lately. Cumulative delta since that reversion back up has been flat. We are into the mean reversion period in the S&P 500 from about 815 to 845 ish. It is Trump the legal and actual president. That's something to argue about. No, so I didn't say what I was going to say about this, because here's the thing. I was like, okay, so if we get to like a new high 7-day average of deaths, then I'm wrong. But to get there, we would have to be like above 15. The new high day for deaths was 36. So if we have more than 36 deaths in a day from the Delta variant, then I'm wrong. I think that Donald Trump is actually a little interesting to talk about in this situation. Oh, do you miss the Tucker Carlson thing? Well, you should rewind and you can go and look at the Tucker Carlson thing, but like it just keeps getting worse. But so on the Donald Trump front, the interesting thing that's been going on is that the legislatures in these Republican states, well, I mean, the Republicans are the majority in those legislatures at least, but there were states that like Biden won. They have been looking at what's been going on in Arizona, and they've basically turned around and have said, oh, well, we want to try doing that too. So, and then there's been this whole thing with Merrick Garland, like saying that they're going to sue and all of this sort of stuff. That one makes no sense. How is doing an audit of that nature a like negative, like something that the Department of Justice can sue for? That makes zero. What law is being broken makes zero sense to me at all. And so there's all these people. They say Arizona actually went to Donald Trump. Georgia actually went to Donald Trump. Pennsylvania actually went to Donald Trump. Well, of those three, I think Georgia is probably the closest on the margin. And I'm constantly seeing people show numbers that suggest that there's enough of a margin of error and possible inaccuracy in the counts and everything to say that he actually did win, which kind of gets weird, right? Like, what happens if Georgia does an audit and the result that those legislators come out and they put it and they vote on it and they certify it and they put the information out and everything was that actually Donald Trump won Georgia? What would happen? It's a little odd to think about, isn't it? Well, I tell you what, we had a pretty good buy up there, and now it's just it's come all the way back. And are they going to make a new low? Let's see. I have to say that in a normal day during the post-pandemic period, that we would have already have skyrocketed up and recovered by now. Yeah. Well, my intention is to just try and hold it, but I don't know. But actually, it's dealing okay in this spot, all things considering. Certainly not. Like, there certainly wasn't like a collapsing cumulative delta to, or an increase in market velocity to say that we're going to bust through the lows. It would be a little odd for them to bust through the lows at this time period as well. Well, I think they're probably going to bust through the lows maybe a little bit. Like, the stops down there are going to be an awfully juicy target, right? The question is just like, if they bust through the lows and then there's the overnight low, 42.79. Okay, so if they break through that and they make a new low, and then how far would they actually be able to go beyond that is kind of the question. You want half sure. That doesn't matter to me. We're going to remember. Here's the problem I'm having. Were you around for my larger thing about when I was thinking about the channel and some of the anxieties that I've been having in recently? So, because I was talking about like the real benefit in the channel is having a real tab on the market sentiment and really knowing a lot about the market, and that's something that can be valuable to a large swath of people out there, right? I don't know. I don't think I can go through it all over again, but you could go back and watch it later because it was a very deep introspective look, right? Part of it was I was saying, I've been making videos to, these are the things that I think that people need to know. But I was thinking back about it and I was like, well, Uzi doesn't need my help. Ace doesn't need my help. So why do I put that as like my primary concern when, really there's all these people that probably don't trade and are never going to trade that we could be providing value to, right? And so our feel on the market from being so close, to what's going on is something valuable that could help them all, right? But I think another thing that's been going on that's kind of had me all messed up is that I don't like to take on risk during the summer. Generally, I didn't trade last summer. I haven't traded this summer yet. And so if it's in the summer and I know that my trading is going to be bad, then like, what do I do? Like I try to be as good as I can and like not do anything stupid and just trade it on sim. Like that's what I'm supposed to do, but that's not what I'm doing right now, is it? I'm a better trader when I put my trades out in the room. You do help me. Well, thanks. You should focus on nurturing the community until it gets big. Yeah, well, that's the thing is that like I feel like that we've, for the core audience, that we've done what you needed. And even though there's a couple of videos that I want to make, like you guys that are sitting here and on the stream every day, you know these things. Like I've related them to you before. So really, I was saying to myself, oh, I need to make these videos and then I can move more towards general content. And what I'm realizing now is like, I should be moving towards general content right now. And I'm also realizing that it shouldn't be that like my general content should be, let's start talking more about equities or something like that. It should really be more of, this is our view of the overall, this is what we can see in the overall market right now. And sharing things that every investor could benefit from is probably, so I should be expanding it even larger than I was originally thinking about. Are you open to trying to change things up to get more viewers? Yes, as long as those changes are not a detriment to the core community. Right? Like, I'm not going to go out and start making a ton of videos about technical analysis because I know I'll get more views from that. Right? Stop wearing a shirt. You brought a good upside excursion there. Again. It's like when it moves up, it starts to get fast again. Call the room naked traders. I don't think that YouTube would appreciate that, Ace. Okay, so anyways, now though I've been running a robot, and it's on a combine, and my intention was like it only needs to take one trade a day, and catch its winner. So I caught the winner and then I quit. I turned it off. I'm kind of interested. I should have left it on and seen what it would have done. I guess I can go back and back test it and see what it does. But kind of part of what's going on here is that like the thing that mattered, which is like what the robot would do. He took his trade, he won, it's fine. Like I'm this long that I have here on the E-mini is kind of just me messing around. Get a green screen and make it look like you're on the beach. Actually, you know what? I can do that now. So, my wife, I think it was an impulse purchase. I don't know how much she thinks about this on her own, and she never says anything to me. I got to tell you what, having an Amazon Prime subscription for a married couple is dangerous. Okay, she uses it. All right. I think that something comes in the mail almost every day. It's never anything expensive, and it's usually are things that they need, but it's basically turned into a lot of the stuff that she would normally buy at the store she gets on Amazon now. And no, I'm not long real money. No, this one that I'm on at 42.83 is a sim. It's not even the serious sim. Anyways, so an impulse buy that I think she made was a little projector. Not a little, it's actually pretty big, but it wasn't very expensive. And it does a pretty okay job too. And it came with like a big white sheet. I don't know if it necessarily makes the best screen ever, but it came with a big white sheet. And so she wanted to go and watch TV outside. And I said, like, that's kind of dumb because there's mosquitoes outside and it's hot. But that's what they want to do. So she went on Amazon and she got this setup that's, you know, it has these stands. Like I have this stand right here of one of these, you know, that I mount my lights on. And I think that this thing was intended to be like, because it's two stands like that and a pole that goes between them, probably so that you can hang a lot of lights on it, right? So and then we just use clips to clip the sheet to that thing. It wasn't that great outside actually. We went downstairs and put it on the wall downstairs, and it was really great. And now I'm like, well, maybe I should put was it a Xiaomi? I think that actually might be I think that might have actually been the brand. Yeah, like it was on sale for Prime Day and it was not very expensive. Anyways, so there's that device now that we have sitting around, and if I went and I got a green sheet to hang from it, then we could do a green sheet. We could do a green screen now with that. But I kind of like the background I have. I don't like that I have that cord right there. The cord that going up into the chalkboard I hate, but other than that, I think it's a really cool setup. Sometimes, I mean, like maybe this is just my own pride. It must be just my own pride, because many times I will see people on TikTok, and there's some people that seem like there was this one guy in particular, and he is a good content creator. Don't get me wrong, he is a really good content creator, but he very much toots his own horn. Like his approach is like, I'm a long-term investor, and anybody that does anything different from me is stupid. Which really rubs me the wrong way. Like, I don't think that we should criticize people using different strategies that better fit their own particular goals and needs, right? And the goal doesn't necessarily have to be make the most money, okay? So that kind of rubs me the wrong way. And so when he's doing that stuff and I look at his videos, like he is in a room, it is like, it's just got like a white wall on the background. And I'm like, if that's really what you've got going, then why are you basically in an empty apartment? You know? Because I took the money that I made from the stream and I put it back into the stream to get this. And it wasn't like super crazy to get all this, but I'm really proud of this setup. I think it looks really nice, you know? So when I see, that's one of the prideful thoughts that go through my head sometimes. My neighborhood puts on movies on the side of the house, outdoor grill s'mores. I wish they would all die of COVID just so I can rub some. Gosh, dude, come on. Oh, man. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a very good spot on the outside of our house to project it on, and the house is brown anyways, so plus our yard is kind of weird because our yard has like 3 levels of terraced up, so kind of makes an interesting amphitheater of sorts. That's how I would put it, but yeah, I don't know. At some point I want to have people over. Win says, I think when I searched the other traders' channels, your channel has a professional look and comfortable feel. Plus, your voice is really smooth like a DJ. Oh, thanks. The other day, I had to change the microphone. I can't remember what it was that I did, but I hope it sounds good now. I think it was I was rewatching myself one day, and I was like, oh, man, I have the high-end distortion way too high on this, and like I turned it way down. I was searching the other trader channels the other day, and I didn't even notice what their backgrounds were, though. Like, that's the funny thing. It doesn't really matter. I do look at some of these other trader channels, though, because Because there are some channels, they have less subscribers than us and get a lot of views on their day trading thing. And I keep wondering what causes that. I would really like to know. It's kind of weird. It may just be they have better outside marketing and so they're able to attract more people that want to watch a stream. I don't know. But I was wondering, because yesterday was so bad for me. Like, obviously I remember I came in and I was like, well, I'm not too happy with the setup that we have for today. I probably need to be careful about risk. And then I was losing. And so I started taking stupid trades and like screwing around and doing things that you should never do on a live account. And it was so bad. I'm not kidding. It was like 10 in a row. Like after the stream even, because remember I was in one and I was like, well, let's see if it works out. It did get a pretty good excursion, but then after the news and everything, like the FOMC minutes, it was like really difficult. And I kept trying to take like these little scalps and like every single freaking one of them, equal risk reward, 10 in a row, losers. And they weren't all the same direction either. Like, what the heck? How does that happen?
Block sell.
So then I was like, okay, well, it's a difficult market. Let's go and see what the other guys are doing. And they were bad. They were bad too. So I went and I looked at some of the other trading channels and they had some pretty ugly trades as well. And then I didn't feel bad about myself anymore because I knew, okay, it really is just the market. Like target people who have heard something about trading this different way. The people who are beginning to realize their indicators are BS. I do need to put some. Well, I'm trying to do that stuff with TikTok. Yeah. So the question is, we want to expand our reach, right? How do we do that? Which is to say, when I put out a video on a Monday, what video should I make? What video should I make next? What did I look at? I don't remember. I don't remember their names. Matt. So Matt had a loser yesterday. I think it was like 2,000 or 3,000 loser. And then I can't remember who this other guy is, but there's one where he has a pretty clickbaity thumbnail, but it's hard for me to decipher from his thumbnail how he actually did, because he puts like the total amount in the account. So because it's like, we're doing $1 million challenge or something like that, and I'm like, I don't think that's real trading, but those were the ones I was looking at. Yeah. Anyways, what should be the next video that I did? Because I have a couple of them that I've like wanted to do for a while that are on the docket. Like I have I have a video. I just haven't been able to record voice for it because it's been so noisy in the house. But I have one where I was just parsing out that thing that we did the other day about the difference between the different data feeds. Day trade, yeah, it was Day Trader Paradise. Yep, that's right. That one, I didn't go in and watch the video or anything. I didn't go in and watch these videos or anything. I just was looking at their thumbnails to see if it would tell me. And not Day Trader Paradise, I was like confused what he was. I was unclear to me if he was trading live or what he was doing, because he was, had this huge number up on the thumbnail, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means about how you did that day. Yeah. Well, you get some people who have gotten into trading from the aspect of taking buy-sell signals to make money. Some of those people will lose money and become determined to learn to trade, and others will get lucky and walk away. Like my one friend, I got into share investing. He made $3,000 and stopped. Well, so here's the issue with that, is that while we have a lot of really good information to share with traders, and there are definitely still some really useful trader videos that I think that we could make, if my pitch is come and watch my channel because then you will finally become a successful trader, I think that there are some issues with that, right? Because as much as I can teach people, there is nothing that I can teach people that is going to guarantee their success. In fact, very much the case is that as much as you might know about the market, every day that you trade will be incredibly difficult, and you will have incredibly difficult times, like I did yesterday, where I traded on Sim, but I lost like 10 times in a row on equal risk reward. What's going on there? But it happens, right? That kind of losing streak can happen. So there's one guru that got caught a while ago leaving his platform open, and it was Sim while he was trading for big real money. Yeah. So that's where I was like, I don't, the pitch is always, you should become a day trader. You're going to make so much money. Come and do it with, I don't want to do that. You get what I mean? Like, because my perspective really is like, hey guys, day trading is not for everybody, right? Probably day trading is not for anybody, really. I mean, 95% of people lose. Like, just straight up 95% of people lose. So one of the videos that I wanted to make was, is day trading for you? Where I would more clearly lay out some of these ideas that, hey, probably taking a lot of risk in day trading is not a wise financial decision. But that doesn't mean that you can't benefit from having this interest, or, day trading as a hobby or a side thing, right? Like what I do, right? Because I don't make tons of money from the day trading. The amount of risk that I put on is very, very tiny, right? He's disappeared. The thing is, he was making videos disparaging. Oh, really? Right. So do you get where I'm saying that, like, the change is, hey, even if they're not trading huge amounts of money, and even if you don't day trade yourself, you benefit from being subscribed to this channel because you're going to get a feel for the markets that you don't get other places, right? That's what I'm trying to push out. And so the question is, what are some videos that you can make that will give people, that will tell people this, that they will want to click on the thing and then they'll watch the video and they go, oh yeah, I should really follow this channel, right? And then I have to back it up with more content, which means that I need to have more videos relating to large macro changes that we're seeing in the market and analyzing them. Oh, was Cardinal Cash is not around anymore? Well, that actually kind of surprises me, because I thought it was like a foregone conclusion that he was mostly trading Sim. And probably with some of these other guys too. I don't know. Are these guys actually coming out and saying, oh, I have a $500,000 account and I'm trading it up to $1 million? Because now he does sports betting. Yeah. No, that's trading though. So you're being honest about it, and yeah, it's grim reality, but you tell them that. And if they're still determined, then tell them to come and learn. Yeah. I haven't heard from him in a long time. Yeah, I haven't heard from our friend Emini in a long time. Don't say anything. They might come in and start harassing her channel again. How about you take every successful trader YouTuber out there and prove why you're a scam one video at a time? I don't know if that's my thing. Like, if you've seen CoffeeZilla and who's the other guy? There's another guy that does it that's really good at it. And they're great, and they do it better than I would be able to do it. And I don't think that it's necessary, and I don't think that that's really my audience. Yeah. But coffee, if you're not following CoffeeZilla's channel, I have to say there are a few YouTubers that I can just, if you like my channel, I can just unequivocally say that you should be following these other guys. And I'll tell you, Futures Trader 71 is really the authority. I'm just some Yahoo that happens to record this. Futures Trader 71 is the real sage that's been around forever, right? Patrick Boyle has a really good finance channel that teaches you the kinds of things like the way that I think you would be doing it if you like went to a finance school, like the history of hedge funds, right? And then CoffeeZilla, and CoffeeZilla is basically exposing scam artists, and it's great. So yeah. But so I'm planning on making a TikTok video today, and the TikTok video that I want to make today is going to be like, did you know that you can benefit from day trading without actually like day trading? And no, I'm not saying that I'll trade for you or something like that, but even you can go and you can trade and not take on very much risk, or even not any risk at all, and it can still benefit you, because it's that process of trading and interacting with the market that you're going to learn the most. And the things that I know about the market, I wouldn't know if I wasn't sitting there and watching the market every day and reading the headlines, learning everything that I could about them, and then seeing how the market reacts to it. And so being that close to the market has a real benefit. And of course, not everybody can do that, because maybe you don't have the time to sit in front of a screen and watch order flow and learn it like I have every day. But then you can just live vicariously through me, because I'm always going to be here doing this. Right? So I have to get that down into a minute, but that's kind of the way that I want to try and take things, right? So if we do that, so one video that I could make is day trading for you? That's first video idea number one, right? But video idea number two, and this is much more vague, but we need to make some sort of a macro video, right? So the question is, what is the thing going on in the economy right now that will capture people's attention and will get the clicks, that will get people to come here and say, oh yes, this guy, for me as an investor, even if I'm doing long-term trading, it's beneficial to me to be following this scalper guy, because I'm able to get insights that I don't get anywhere else. So what would be the best thing that we could tell them about right now, right? So we could talk about what's going on with the interest rates right now, but I don't know if that would really get the clicks. So maybe we should do one about housing. We haven't talked a ton about housing on the stream, but I've been talking about it on TikTok. Maybe we should get into that one. Everything you need to know about the UFO report. I think you can go and read it. I'll give you, here's the quickest synopsis that I can give you. They looked at like 140 different incidents that have happened in the last, since they implemented this policy where people in the military actually report it. And in only one instance were they able to determine the root cause of it. And in multiple cases, I think in like 20 to 50 of these cases, they had multiple sensors seeing this data. And they were seeing behavior that from aerial phenomena that they could not explain. And the report also said that they're concerned that it could pose a security risk. So it says, I do like to listen to Patrick Boyle videos. I think he's so good. He really like there's the thing is when you go on Patrick Boyle's channel, I haven't seen anything on his channel that is like, here are the kind of algorithms that I was making and here's how I think that you should go about as being a quant. That's not the kind of content that he posts, right? The kind of content that he posts is like, okay, here's the history of this trading firm. Here's the history of this trading firm. But I mean, my understanding is like, if you go to university, that's how they teach it. So it's good. Yeah, and when you can't explain it, that's at the end. You can't explain it. Well, you have theories about what they are, and you can go through the evidence and see how the evidence matches up to different theories, right? I think the thing, again, that's unique about this situation is that people that are in the know and really know what's going on at top levels of the military are looking at all of this evidence and saying, I think the most likely explanation is aliens. That is different, right? It doesn't mean that they're right, but it is a real shocker. People are uncomfortable with not knowing. That's probably true. Yeah, I saw this thing the other day that they were saying that it was somebody in marketing. It was somebody in marketing, and they were saying that the more data that you give people, the less convincing it is to them. So like for my website, you can go in and I give like a thorough explanation of every indicator. And I do that because I want people to be able to understand what they're looking at and use it. Right. But the reality is that my website is not really very convincing to people, is it? To get to buy into the indicators, which is okay. I just want to make sure that those of you that are here on the stream that want access to it, get access to it. And if we can get it to the point where we have about 20 reliable subscribers, then we can do some stuff with that money. But if that doesn't happen, that's okay. I do have to get going soon. Yeah, I don't care about their made-up pet hypothesis. You know. Wait. I was watching the biggest Twitch streamer talk about how big a problem it is to post videos on his YouTube channel because every single time he does it causes the Twitch chat the very next day to become very strange. Huh. It just says, how and when do you use your indicators? Well, I'm very hesitant to give very specific like setups to people on things because if I do have a very specific setup, I want to keep it for myself. And I don't think that I have one from those indicators that is general enough that I can share it. Like when I talk about the square root law of market impact, that's something that I feel like I can confidently share information on, and it's not going to ruin how I use the edge, right? But so I don't want to do that. But number two is that I want you to be able to come up with your own edges from it. Part of the advantage of putting it out there is that people will find ways to use it in ways that I don't expect. So I definitely get that. The one guy that has been the most active with it is Tiger, Cloth Tiger. He's here in YouTube chat from time to time, but he posts in the Discord room that we have, and he posts some of the charts, and he's using some different time frames and things and showing them to me, and I think that he's showing some pretty good stuff with it. So like with all of these people working together, we can derive new edge from it. So that's the other part of it. But, you know, the question is, how do you give people a really solid idea of how to use it while also being convincing and getting more people in? Well, I don't know if it matters anymore. I'm not sure if it matters anymore. I feel like we've kind of got this idea. I was wondering, because I haven't heard as many suggestions on just, oh, there's bots. Good morning, bots. But we were just talking about, we're kind of trying to use the channel to give more of like people that are just general investors to share information that would be useful information to everybody, which basically means that it's more like the feel that we get from watching all of the news and watching how the market reacts and everything, and being the closest to it. And there's insights that you gain from that we can then turn around after we've traded and share with the larger investing community, and has a lot of value. And so I feel like that the channel has already developed a good community, and that you guys don't really need a whole lot from me, and that we should be trying to expand our reach to more general investors now. So we were talking about what videos we should possibly make to talk about them. I have a TikTok video that I want to make today about it, but I also think this weekend I might record a new video on the subject of why traders lose money. But it'll basically be, is day trading for you? And it will kind of say that, like, hey, maybe day trading isn't for you, but you can still watch this channel and benefit from it. I've been lurking. Everybody knows that, but me is that no, it's just me and you. Well, I have to say, you need to grow the community carefully, Seth, because it's very difficult to go back. So having a hit video shouldn't be the goal. Okay. Oh, so here's the interesting thing about that. So I was watching Harris Heller the other day. I don't know why I like this guy, because it's not like his content really helps me all that much anymore. But I think it's just that I was kind of maybe some of the same reason why Ace and I get along. It's like we're both in Utah, right? And Harris is like an example of a person doing what I'm doing, but they've been massively successful with it. I mean, he's making millions of dollars now, and he also lives in Utah, and pretty similar age. I'm like 2 years ahead of him. It's kind of funny. It's going to be interesting to see when he has his kid. And he was talking about how he did things, and he said that his videos would get about 1,000 views in the first day. Was the thing that he said that really stood out to me. So I have had videos that have gotten 1,000 views in the first day, but typically we're closer to 200, 300 in the first day, right? But he said that, so I think it's like you've got to get to that certain point of a certain amount of views in the video first to be on that threshold. But then he said just one day, one of the videos took off. It just kind of happened, right? It's like the YouTube algorithm hit the perfect round where it says, okay, your go, and now you're popular, right? So I guess the thing is that if we go in and we're making videos targeting specific keywords and things that are going on, and trying to build this audience that wants to follow us for our market insights, at some point it's possible that one of those videos will just randomly take off, and apparently we don't really have a whole lot of control or way to predict if or when that will happen. So it's just, we just make good content and not worry about it. It's just a question of what content should we target, right? For us, it's going to be all about search. So what are the things that we can search? Or what are the keywords that people are going to be searching that will get that target to us, right? Well, and that's kind of the difficult question. We want people that are interested in market insights from scalpers. That person that would be potentially interested in that, what are they searching for on YouTube? That's a question. So think about that. I got to get going. And if you guys have ideas, tell me tomorrow. Yeah, Friday should be interesting. We do have some news on Friday, right? Well, I don't have time to go and look, but stay profitable, friends.